Hey everyone, this is a story I've kept to myself since last summer, and I'm finally ready to share it anonymously here. I'm 23, a graphic designer from Seattle, and this is about a trip to Paris that turned into something I never expected. It's romantic, wild, and a little confusing, and I'd love your take if you're reading. Please subscribe and drop a comment. What would you do in my shoes? Your wisdom as a 40-plus crowd would mean a lot. So, it all started when I booked a 2-week vacation to Paris in June 2025. I'd saved up, dreaming of romance, Eiffel Tower at sunset, cobblestone streets, maybe meeting my soulmate among the young guys I'd seen in movies. I imagined a charming Frenchman with a guitar, sweeping me off my feet. I arrived jet-lagged but excited, checking into a small hotel near Montmartre, the air filled with the scent of fresh croissants and the hum of French chatter. My first day, I wandered to a cafe on a quiet street, sipping espresso and sketching the passers-by. The city was alive, couples holding hands, artists painting, the Eiffel Tower peeking through buildings. I wore a sundress, feeling hopeful, my brown hair loose, blue eyes scanning for that special someone. Then I noticed him, an older man, 84, sitting alone at a corner table. He had silver hair, sharp green eyes, and a kind smile, dressed in a crisp blazer despite the heat. He sipped coffee, reading a newspaper, and something about his calm presence drew me in. I caught his eye, and he nodded politely. On impulse, I moved to his table, asking in broken French if I could join him. He chuckled, switching to perfect English with a slight accent, introducing himself as Henri, a retired professor. We talked about Paris, art, life, and his stories of the city's past captivated me. He was witty, gentle, and I felt a spark I hadn't expected. The afternoon faded, and he suggested a walk. I agreed, my heart racing. What would come next? After that cafe chat, Henri and I stepped out into the Paris evening, the city glowing with golden light. The Eiffel Tower loomed ahead, its lights twinkling as we strolled along the Seine, the river reflecting the magic. He was 84, but his energy was incredible, pointing out historic spots, sharing tales of post-war Paris, his silver hair catching the breeze. I'm 23, used to dating guys my age, but his wisdom and charm felt different, refreshing. We laughed over my clumsy French, and he held my arm crossing streets, his touch warm and steady. I wore my sundress, feeling young and alive, my brown hair swaying as we walked. He suggested dinner at a small bistro, and over cocoa vin and wine, we talked deeper, his late wife, my dreams, the loneliness we both knew. His green eyes sparkled with life, and I found myself drawn to him, not just as a friend. After dinner, we wandered to a quiet park, sitting on a bench under the stars. He took my hand, his skin soft but strong, and said, "You remind me of my youth." My heart fluttered, I hadn't expected this. We kissed, a gentle, surprising moment, and I felt a rush, not just physical but emotional. He invited me to his apartment, a cozy place near Notre Dame, filled with books and old photos. We sat on his couch, talking late into the night, the connection growing. Then he leaned in again, and we shared another kiss, deeper this time, the room warm with intimacy. It was less about age and more about the moment, his experience guiding us, my curiosity meeting his tenderness. We didn't rush, just held each other, the night stretching with closeness I'd never known. Morning came with sunlight through his curtains, and I woke in his arms, shocked but happy. What would this mean? Your comments would help me reflect, let me know what you think. So, waking up in Henry's arms that morning was surreal, the Paris sunlight streaming through his lace curtains, casting patterns on his bookshelf-lined walls. I'm 23, and he's 84, but the night before had blurred those lines. We'd spend hours on his couch, talking and kissing, a closeness that felt like a dance, his hands gentle on my back, my head resting on his chest, listening to his steady heartbeat. It wasn't wild in a young way, but intense in its tenderness, a connection built on shared stories and quiet moments. He made coffee, his movements slow but graceful, and we sat at his kitchen table, laughing over croissants. His green eyes held a spark, and I felt seen, not just as a tourist but as someone special. That day, we explored more, Montmartre's artists, a boat ride on the Seine, his arm linked with mine, guiding me through crowds. At night, back at his place, the mood shifted again. We sat close, the air warm with anticipation. He took my hand, leading me to his bedroom, the space filled with soft light from a bedside lamp. We lay down, fully clothed at first, just holding each other, his voice whispering memories of love. Then we moved closer, his experience showing in the way he caressed my hair, my shoulders, a slow dance of affection. It was incredible. His age brought a patience I'd never known, his touch firm yet careful, guiding us into a rhythm of intimacy. We didn't cross lines, but the closeness was electric, my heart racing as we explored each other's presence. Hours passed, wrapped in blankets, talking and laughing, the night a blur of connection. I fell asleep to his breathing, waking to find him watching me with a smile. The week ahead held more, but this night was a turning point. What would come next? So, after that first incredible night with Henri, my Paris vacation transformed. We spent the next few days inseparable, the city our playground. He was 84, I was 23, but age melted away as we strolled hand in hand, Eiffel Tower at dusk, quaint cafes, even a picnic by the Louvre. His silver hair gleamed in the sunlight, his green eyes full of life, and I felt like the heroine in a love story. We'd meet after my tourist jaunts, him waiting with a smile, and we'd talk for hours, his wartime stories, my art ambitions. One evening, back at his apartment, we cooked together, simple pasta, him teaching me French recipes, and the kitchen filled with laughter. After dinner, we sat on his balcony, the city lights sparkling below. He pulled me close, his arm around my waist, and we kissed, the moment tender yet charged. Later, in his bedroom, we lay together again, the lamp casting a soft glow. He held me, his hands tracing my back, my arms, a slow exploration of closeness. It was passionate in its restraint, his breath warm against my neck, my fingers in his hair, a dance of affection without crossing boundaries. We stayed like that, wrapped in each other, the night stretching with whispers and shared silence. It happened a few more times during my stay, quiet evenings of connection, his experience blending with my youth in a way that felt magical. But I knew it was temporary, my flight back to Seattle loomed. Each goodbye at his door was bittersweet, his smile hiding a hint of sadness. The last night, we walked to Notre Dame, holding hands, and he said, "You've given me a gift, Sherry." I cried, feeling the same. How would this end? Thanks for reading, please comment with your take, I need the perspective. After that last night with Henri, my final days in Paris were a blur of emotion. We met once more, a quiet lunch near the Seine, his green eyes misty as he handed me a sketch he'd drawn, a silhouette of us by the Eiffel Tower. I'm 23, he's 84, and our time together felt like a dream I didn't want to end. We hugged, his arms strong despite his age, and I boarded my flight to Seattle, tears staining my cheeks. Back home, the rain greeted me, a stark contrast to Paris's charm. My apartment felt empty, my sketches of Henry's face filling my notebook. I returned to work, my friends asking about my trip, and I shared the tourist highlights, keeping him a secret. The nights with him, his gentle touch, the warmth of his embrace, haunted me, a mix of joy and longing. It wasn't just physical, it was the way he listened, the stories he shared, the life in his eyes. I dated a guy my age later, but it lacked that depth. Henri and I exchanged a few emails, his words kind but distant, and then silence. I realized it was a vacation romance, a fleeting connection tied to Paris's magic. Months passed, and I focused on my career, my art reflecting a wiser me. Last week, I found his sketch again, and smiled. Those nights were mine, a memory of a man who showed me love knows no age. I don't regret it, it taught me to seek connection, not just youth. If you've had a surprising romance or advice on letting go, share it, I'm listening. Thanks for being here through my confession. Take care, everyone.